Open Your Eyes is brought to you by the Belize Bank. Our country, your bank.
Welcome to Open Your Eyes.
Start your morning right. I am John Palacio.
And I'm Marlene Cuellar, and thank you for joining us this Friday morning.
I love the way you say it, this Friday morning.
That's how we're all feeling today.
We're feeling good, but let's see what's going to happen with the weather. Michael Gentle is on the line. Mike, good morning.
Yeah, morning. What's up?
We are doing great. That's a Johnny Cake what's up, and I like that. So let's jump on into the weather. We're feeling that strong wind this morning. Tell us about the general situation.
Yeah, we're expecting seasonably warm and dry weather conditions to continue for the next few days.
It sounds like a replica of yesterday. In the 24-hour forecast?
Yeah, mostly sunny today, partly cloudy tonight with little rainfall expected.
And what is that going to say about our temperatures? It's going to be hot.
86 along the coast, 93 over some inland areas, 82 in the hills. For tonight, 78 along the coast, 72 inland, 68 for the high elevations.
Excellent. And should we be getting some more strong winds like this morning?
Yeah, we're going for 10 to 20 knots winds from the east and southeast. Sea conditions will be choppy to moderate.
All right. And that extended forecast?
You are expecting similar conditions for the next few days going through the weekend. All
right. Well, thank you very much for that update.
Okay, welcome.
You have a great day today.
Thank you, forecaster Mike Gentle at the National Met Service for that weather up, the meteorologist, right?
Yeah. Meteorologist.
Yes, that's the word. Yeah. Well, let's move on into our show for this morning as we now turn to our eye opener.
All right, and the eye opener taken from dailyom.com goes like this. Fear of the future can paralyze us when we think about our goals, but we can allow the future to unfold at our own pace. We can recognize that success is on the horizon, but we cannot discern how it will impact our lives. Because success can affect us in complex and unpredictable ways, taking us out of the status quo and pushing us into new circumstances that test our limits, the mere idea of attaining the life of our dreams can shake us to the core. Fear of the future is often closely intermingled with the fear that growing into your own potential will both change you irrevocably and force you to face situations for which you aren't ready. It is important to remember, however, that all that life changes the future will bring will be implemented into your life slowly and gradually. Assume that your fear is based on a false assumption and quell it with facts. Try to disregard past patterns and focus on the present by stilling the inner voice that comments critically on all you do. Each time you overcome your fear of the future, you chip away at its very foundations. Eventually, you will clear a gap through which you can gaze upon the future with unhindered optimism.
There are a few things that stand out for me. It is important to remember, however, that all the life changes the future will bring will be implemented into your life slowly and gradually. For me, I'll tell you what, Marlene, and I think we've spoken about this so many times. I'm a person who I look at the world from where there is evil, there is good. And it also bears down on what the future will bring for me. I always focus there because I know what I want, especially being a family man and all. And this says, there's a part in there that says, what you try to do is try to leave what was behind. I always try to find the best thing about behind and then implement it into today's and then moving forward with it. I love the eye opener because it talks about the future and how you could clear a path to see what you want or to get what you want. I like that.
Yeah. So this really great graduation speech. There's a clip from a graduation speech that I saw earlier that a valedictorian gave, and he was talking about how he'd set his sights on being a valedictorian and how he worked so hard to be able to do it. And he said the moment it was announced, for all of maybe 16 or 18, for all of that 18 seconds, he was happy and excited, and it was all the feelings that he'd been working towards. And immediately after, he had a sense of doom. Because when you work so hard for something and you get it, it can be really unsettling to think of making other goals, of working towards other goals, and even just realizing sometimes this is it.
This is it, yeah.
And I can really identify with that. Essentially, what the point of his speech was, that how much was that 18 seconds where he felt this pure joy worth all the sacrifices that he'd made along the way. He was a high school student. Time with friends, time with family, going to different events, and all these other things. So I thought of that when I read it, because I think sometimes the fear of working really hard for something and wanting to get there so furiously can make us have blinders on to a certain extent, and we lose sight of everything else, which is why I just love the opening part where it says, let it unfold in its own pace. You got to do the work.
You got to do the work.
If you're going to set goals, you got to do the work. But don't become so hyper focused that you lose out on everything else along the way. And the future can be scary. You know, the future can be absolutely scary for some people. And I think in this current context, where we are right now, as we are facing this pandemic, where we do not know what's going to happen next. I know everybody's waking up every day and they just want to know what's going to happen, when it's going to end, how is it going to impact me, and nobody has the answers to those questions
right now.
And that's not just us in Belize, it's everywhere.
So across the
There's
world.
so much uncertainty, and it's hard to cope with. So I thought that really just allows us to be able to link the two matters together. You have to kind of go through the process. You have to be sure that you fight off the negative emotions that you may be feeling, remain optimistic, but more importantly, do the work. You have to do the work. And the work here is perhaps the easiest job we've ever gotten in our entire lives. Maybe not kids, but adults especially. How many times have we not wanted to say, oh, I just wish I could stay home and do nothing.
Yeah, or work from home.
Here's your opportunity.
Yeah,
oh, I wish I could spend more time with my kids. Here's your opportunity.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of just putting it back into perspective for us, that there is a lot of uncertainty in our future right now. There is a lot of criticism and speculation as to what everybody else is doing, but focus on you. Make sure you're doing the work to ensure that you have the type of future you want. And the ideal future for us is that we have the least possible number of cases, the slowest spread that we can manage, so we don't have an overwhelmed healthcare system.
That's right.
And just keep on focused on that. We can't tell you what's going to happen. No one can. But we can make sure that today when we wake up, we wash our hands. We don't go out unless we have to. If we do have to go out, we keep our distance. If we feel sick, we stay home. If you're already working from home, keep some space around the house too. Keep on cleaning common areas, and also enjoy the time that you do have with your loved ones.
Yeah, indeed. You're so right. Eventually you will clear a gap through which you can gaze upon the future with unhindered optimism. I love the way you summed it up. And I'll tell you this much, hope, it lies on you. It lies right here on us, right here, especially in our little country. All we need to do is follow what have been told to us. Social distancing. Keep your distance. Yeah. If you want to sneeze, you sneeze in the bend of your elbow. There are a few things you could just go online, you check it out, and we could move forward and get the best out of this.
All right. And so that's our eye opener for today.
Love it.
So, time now for our COVID-19 update. And this is where we're going to tell you all the things that have happened over the past 24 hours and any major updates. So, what we are looking at, let's start off with tests first. So, additional tests were conducted and the results were all negative. So, right now, there are no new confirmed cases in the country. If you do recall, what took place yesterday, the mother of the first case did test positive, so so that leaves us with two. That's one
cases,
imported case, which means she brought it in, and one close contact case.
Yeah.
The Director of Health Services posted an update yesterday, and he said that to date, 82 tests have been conducted, and the 5 that were done yesterday were all negative. So there's some more that were to be screened overnight, and we will see what those results are today.
Also in the COVID-19 update, the Attorney General outlines rules and regulations under new quarantine orders.
And, you know, those are very critical things that we're talking about here. First of all, let's start with what's going to be the most challenging for a lot of people. The mass gatherings, or not the mass gatherings, the groups that can get together can no longer exceed 10.
Yeah.
So we started off with 100, we went down to 25, and now we are at 10.
Yes.
Which means that no groups larger than 10 should be congregating at any given time. They were very, very specific about not allowing for barbecues and parties and these kinds of things to take place even at home.
Yeah.
And only gatherings of people within the household are allowed for, so you want to take that into consideration. There were more places that were closed down. Businesses are expected to enforce the no more than 10 persons in one area. And if they have a line or queue outside, they must ensure that a minimum of 3 feet is kept between these people. We did our demo here for social distancing. The ideal is 6 feet, but you can also get away with 3 feet. WHO recommends 3 feet, but you know, as we're saying, as much space as possible.
As far as possible,
Yeah.
yes. Also, bus companies...
I also just wanted to continue with that. So the other restrictions that they also put forward. So this is actually, it's a quarantine order. I know people thought that meant we were under quarantine. Just for clarification purpose, the Attorney General did say it's just based on the legislation that it's being applied under. We're not officially under a quarantine. There are more places that have been closed, and those include, well, we'd already closed the casino and gaming establishments, now spas, beauty salons, barbershops, gymnasiums, sporting complex, discotheques, bars, rum shops, and nightclubs.
Yeah.
Restaurants are closed for dine-in experience, and they've also left the option open to add other places as well.
Yeah. And of course, when it comes to the social distancing protocols, every business establishment allowed under the under this order to operate shall ensure that all customers and staff maintain physical distancing no less than 3 feet, like you mentioned, in or outside their business. So there are a few things that, of course, that they've put in place so folks can know that, hey, we need to follow what have been ordered up to us.
I found what I was looking for. This is the part right here, restrictions on social activities. So clearly we knew that things like weddings couldn't take place and parties and whatnot, but it also extends to churches. We know some churches had moved online last week, but now it is being enforced that no public worship in any facility, and funerals. If you're burying a loved one, I know the family of Kia Herbert, the child that was killed last week, has their funeral today, and they were kind of asking about what they can do, and it cannot be more than 10 people. That's the regulation at this time.
What stand out there for me is that they're asking questions, which of course you're able to do.
Yeah.
All right. So also our next update
is about bus transportation. So the bus companies are going to offer special schedules to facilitate transport for those who have to go to work.
Yeah.
No standees will be allowed on these rides, and special measures will be implemented to ensure safety. All right. And the government reassures that we have enough food in storage for the next 3 months, and in some cases 6 months. So that was really reassuring to hear yesterday. We saw they gave the full outline. This is where having a strong agricultural sector, or at least having farmers who've been producing or goods for so long, really comes in handy.
Of course.
So we are in the clear. There's going to be corn, there's going to be beans, there's going to be rice, there's going to be sugar, there's going to be soybeans, there's all of this poultry, there's meats.
Yes.
All of these things can still be gotten in Belize, and that really will help you, because I know sometimes the fear makes us want to go and buy everything because we feel like it's not going to be there. We're being told, we're sure there is sufficient food.
Yep, we're being reassured that there'll be sufficient food for a few months, and so we want to make sure we stay on top of that as well.
And the last update for this morning, and this is a really interesting one, and I think will change the context of what we're seeing on social media. So an individual has been arrested for spreading false rumors about a COVID case. And this is after she posted that there was a family that had COVID-19 in a village in Orange Walk, and it caused panic. The police located her, and she was arrested and charged, and there is a fine and possibly imprisonment for this practice. So I think this is very encouraging, because it will make people think twice about being so irresponsible in spreading false rumors.
Definitely. I'll tell you what, just log on to the Ministry of Health website or their Facebook page and get all the information you want right there. Do not spread false rumors. You can be fined, all right?
You can be arrested.
You can
Let's
be
start
arrested.
there first. You'll have, yeah. So it was a 25-year-old young woman. Clearly, she didn't think through her choice, but I think that we were told repeatedly that they would invoke this law if needs be.
Yes.
And we saw the sheer panic that started when the rumor was going around that there would be a lockdown. And so I hope that this makes people realize that it is a very serious thing to get people so worked up over things that are just not true. Even if you think it, don't put it out there. Just wait.
Yeah.
There's no reason for you to put information out that you have not validated yourself.
Definitely. And the AG was adamant about it at the sitting of the Senate on Wednesday. So folks should have known that you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah. All right, so that's our COVID-19 update for today.
All right, so there we go. And while we're practicing social distancing, and some folks might be home and it's going to be a long haul, there are a few things you're able to do in your home so that you don't feel like, you know what, I'm missing out. I'm missing a lot of stuff. We've got 3 wonderful segments lined up for you. Being that it's a Friday, I'll tell you what, we're going to kick things off with my buddy, K1. K1 Samuels will be in with us. Exercise session with K1 Fitness.
Yeah,
all right,
this is
that's
really
the first
important.
segment.
A lot of gym rats can't get back to the gym right now. They're closed. So what can you do at home? And if you just want to take up exercise because it's actually really good to help with whatever anxiety you're feeling, we're going to have some beginner lessons that he'll walk us through this morning.
Definitely. In our second segment for this morning, Jenny is going to be in with us. We'll be breaking it down with Jenny, and we'll be talking about coping with the changing routines.
All right. And of course, it doesn't only have to be exercise that calms you down. You see the difference between
I know, you took it light. Yes.
Slow down. We're going to have a yoga instructor in to talk about breathing and stretching techniques that will really help to keep you calm. It is a fun Friday. We don't forget that we're facing a pandemic, but we're giving you some tools how you can get through it. That's what we have lined up for today.
Definitely.
We'll take that break and we'll be back in a few.
With over 100 years
And we're back, and we are getting you ready to get in some exercise at home. John's taking a seat because we got to keep enough distance over here. And we are joined by no other than K1 from K1 Fitness.
Hi, good morning.
All right, of course, your name is Kawan Samuels, but the gyms are closing down, and I know that's where you do a lot of your work. And so now people are at home trying to figure out, what am I going to do?
It's where I do a lot of my work, but not all my work.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do today is we're going to follow one of my at-home routines.
Yeah.
Under the K1 Live program, which was launched right before the pandemic hit Belize, to offer training services for my clients and followers alike. So what we're going to do is we're going to get Marlene on the floor.
Oh my gosh.
We're gonna do
So
a-
you know, our producer is really strategic, right? She gives John the yoga, and then I have to do the hard workout. And clearly, he's in better shape.
Right, so if you need it more, then you be the one to get it.
No,
instead.
but that means I get beginner level.
Right.
Okay,
Of course.
great.
All right,
So what are we gonna do?
We're going to start off by doing 10 moves,
Okay.
and we're only going to do each move for 15 seconds.
Okay.
All right. The first move is on the floor.
What do you want me to do? Sit?
I want you to go into a high plank position.
Oh, in a plank.
All right. So this routine is available on YouTube under the K1 Fitness BZ page under Takeout Volume 5. If you want to follow it along anytime throughout the day, if you want to give it a try on your own. All right.
Okay.
So Marlene,
I'm planking already.